the Prince Harry and Meghan Markle interview with Oprah. Let me start with something very simple. There were three people during that interview with a combined wealth of over $4 billion. All three of them talking about how they were being oppressed. It's pathetic. It really was. So I was watching it. I was watching the interview, and I tried to go into it with an open mind, even though I heard a lot of stuff about it already before I watched it. So I tried to go into it with an open mind. Let me just start with this. Oprah is a terrible interviewer. I mean, maybe she was good back in the day. I don't know. I never really watched her show. My grandmother would watch it when I was a kid, and Oprah was always garbage. I like Donahue better, so, but even Donahue got crazy eventually. But yeah, Oprah's terrible. She's a terrible interviewer, and a lot of the times when you see these expressions during the interview, the whole they're all gifs now, where she's doing like the oh or the what. She's a terrible actress too. So, because she doesn't come across as what's the word I'm looking for? Authentic whatsoever. She comes across as a phony. So that she's a terrible interviewer. I think she was just chosen because Oprah's name draws ratings. I mean, it's kind of like saying, hey, we're gonna have Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney. I mean, I don't really care to see Paul McCartney perform, but he was on the Beatles, so he's gonna draw a big crowd. He's gonna draw ratings. But I got through it, and the interview started okay. I mean, it sounded like she was. It sounded like, I think, any American who kind of blindly went into getting adjusted to royalty, to a royal family. I think any American who maybe got into that situation wouldn't have really, would have been kind of like, whoa, okay, this is a huge culture shock. Because, I mean, yeah, you can go to London and it's going to be a little bit of a culture shock. You can go to the UK and as a tourist, and yeah, you're going to see some things that aren't American normal. I mean, you're going to get that. So she actually came across at the very beginning of the interview, Meghan Markle did, she came across very much personable. She came across as an American who was a fish out of water. And that's fine. I think that was great. I think it set up the interview very well, and I think she started off being a sympathetic figure in the interview. I thought it was fine. But then it went downhill pretty quickly. I mean, the interview I think is an hour and a half, and within 30 minutes, it went really bad. So right at the very beginning, I'm looking at this. She's talking about like bridesmaid dresses and how there was a misunderstanding between her and what's her name, the other royal, Princess Kate, I guess, her sister-in-law, whoever that is. Anyway, apparently they had a little bit of a disagreement over bridesmaid dresses or something like that for their wedding. And I'm thinking to myself, like, why is this a primetime interview? Why is Oprah with her name lending credence? Why is this an interview subject? I mean, we're talking about how one woman made another woman cry at one point over bridesmaid dresses at a royal wedding. Who gives a shit? I mean, this happens at every fucking wedding. No matter, I mean, I got into an argument over my sister over like an usher's outfit for my nephew right before my wedding. Who gives a shit? Why is this primetime news? It doesn't matter if these people are royalty. You're talking about two people who got upset with each other planning out a wedding. That shit happens every day. So I'm thinking to myself, this is fucking stupid. So I kept watching a little bit more. They started talking about how they started just trying to compare how the Kate Middleton, that's her name, how they compared Kate Middleton in the press to Meghan Markle, and how if Kate Middleton did something, the press was glowing. Oh, she's great, she's wonderful. Meghan Markle did the same thing. Oh, is she vain? Is she this? Is she that? So I think okay, that's fair, but welcome to reality. Welcome to cancel culture. All right. The media lies about you when they don't like you or you don't fit their narrative. Welcome to the big leagues, lady. All right, that's your royalty. Suck it up. It's part of your job. You married into the royal family. Okay? You didn't think nonsense criticism in the media was going to happen? I mean, get over yourself. But then I noticed about 20 minutes into the interview, it was very subtle, but she all of a sudden just started referring to the royal family, like the business of the royal family, as the firm. Now, I don't know if that's a leftover from her time on the show Suits, but she just started referring to them as the firm. And to me, I saw that Tom Cruise movie. You start referring to them as the firm, you obviously have some sort of animosity there. So you could tell that at that point it was going to take a turn for the worse, and it did pretty quickly. It was this started off good, and then it turned into, I'm going to bash my husband's family. And it just went from there, and she just kept going with it. I had to turn it off, I think at about 40 minutes in, is when she started talking about how when her son was going to be born, they weren't going to give him the title prince, and they weren't going to provide him any kind of security. And I don't think I've ever watched somebody say something and immediately just watch them and watch the words come out of their mouth, and as soon as it came out of their mouth, go, "You're a fucking liar." But that's probably the only time I've ever really just that's just the first thing that popped in my head. You're a fucking liar. Because that doesn't sound correct at all. Maybe somebody, if you have a comment, if you can prove me wrong on that, I would love it, because that maybe it was just me, having some sort of bias from the commentary I've heard on this interview. But the first thing that came into my head was just like, you're a fucking liar. There's no way in hell that you're going to have Prince Charles. He's going to be king here soon. You're telling me that he's not going to provide security for his grandson. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. That is not going to happen. Not only that, but who's after Charles? It's William, I think. Is it William? Prince William. You guys can clear me up on the royals. I'm an American. I haven't had to give a fuck about the royals since 1776. So, but yeah, I guess Prince William. You really think Prince William is going to make sure his nephew doesn't get security? You're out of your damn minds if you think that this family is not going to make sure that this kid's taken care of. That's just ridiculous. So once it got to that, and she started saying stuff like, oh, they were worried about the color of his skin once he was born. Okay, let me tell you something here really quick. I am half Mexican. So my dad is of European descent, and my mom is of Mexican descent. My wife is full-blooded Filipino, like her parents are from the Philippines. So my wife is the first generation born in America, as far as I know. I am half and half. So something we talked about, do we think our kids are going to be darker? Will they be lighter skinned? Because I'm more light skinned. What are the complexion of our kids going to be? And that's a normal conversation to have when you have a mixed race couple. So I am just wondering what I as soon as it got to that, I was like, that's it. I think she's full of shit. And at this point, I had to turn it off, because at this point, I don't want to hear what Prince Harry has to say at all. Because at this point, he's like the joke. To me, it's the question I have for him is the same thing the Joker had for the mob guys. what happened? Your balls fall off? Because there's no way in hell that I would, and yes, I mean, I would not let my wife go on global television and bash my family like that. And trust me, there are family members that, maybe I don't get along with or I don't like too much and maybe they don't like me back. That's fine. But I would never go on national television and, let another member of my family bash my family as a whole. Not only that, but insinuate that they are racist. And then not only that, insinuate that that they would actively put my child's life in danger because of a little bit of a dark complexion. So that is, I immediately had to shut it off because I knew I was just going to get more and more mad as this interview went on. So yeah, so basically what I'm getting at is every bit of commentary that I heard about that interview with Harry and Meghan is probably 100% true. It's a huge whine fest. It's a bunch of rich people complaining about being oppressed, and for the most part, it sounds like it's mostly not true, and headlined by someone who has basically become a caricature of herself in Oprah. She is awful interviewer. Oprah is an awful interviewer, and I think she's just riding on the fact that she's a big name now. She's created that, and good for her. She's created that, so she can kind of coast in, but she's not authentic anymore. She's really a phony now. She's like, Oprah right now is kind of like that quarterback who won like 2 or 3 Super Bowls, and he can kind of retire whenever he wants. But it kind of like, I guess, kind of like Brett Favre. He can retire whenever he wants, so he just keeps holding up these teams, saying, "Oh, I'll let you know," rather than letting them plan for the future. He just keeps coming back. So similar to that, I think that's what Oprah is now. She's not good at her job, and she's kind of a phony now, but she earned that right because she did build a huge empire for herself, and congratulations on that, Oprah. But the Harry and Meghan thing, she's it was garbage, and once again, Trump proven right. Not a fan of hers, and Prince Harry is gonna need a lot of help, to deal with her. So, good luck with that.